And hello everyone, welcome to This Day. It is Tuesday, it is June 25th. I'm Michael Taylor, welcome to our program. We've got a great show for you today. I know I say that a lot, but I really mean it today. This is a fun one, we're gonna enjoy it. We're gonna be welcoming Cirque du Soleil Cousé's lead clown. He's Duncan Cameron. He's gonna tell us all about the great show they have going on there. It's over in Laguna Hills Mall parking lot, and they're gonna be there into August, so get out there and enjoy that show. But you're gonna talk about his story about how he became a clown and how he's performing in the show, and a lot of really interesting insights into the world of Cirque du Soleil, so stay tuned for that. Then later in the program, Camera Club President John Cornell Jr. is going to be here. Not only is he the president of the Camera Club, but he's a Pulitzer Prize-winning news photographer. He's going to be telling us the stories of his days over in Newsday, and I'll see some great photos and talk about what they do at the club these days. Hey, we've got a little bit of a stay informed for you, and it's a little bit of an oopsie we got to tell you about. We had a little oopsie over Gate 10 over at the Residence Lane. As you can see there, we have a broken gate, a little accident, and it's going to be about 2 more weeks for the repairs to get done before that gate's open. Right now, people are just able to use the guest lane through entry through Gate 10, so maybe a little bit of backup, a little bit of an inconvenience there every once in a while if things are, rush houring over there at the gate. So if you can avoid it, great. If you can't, then just know that that's happening for another 2 weeks before they get all the repairs done over there. Let's take a look outside at our weather, and it is already shaping up to a great day. It's mostly sunny out there already. It's going to be another warm one, but not as warm as yesterday. We have, as you can see from the numbers here, a slight cooling trend that's going to start hitting us. We're going to get into the high 70s later on, starting tomorrow. So another warm one today, and then just a little bit cooler. We might see a little bit of a return of the marine layer in the morning, but right now it's been pretty much burned off by 7 a.m. At the most. So lots of sunshine out there, and we'll have maybe a little bit of return of the marine layer as June kind of gives its last fleeting gas at giving us clouds, and July's headed right around the corner. Again, mostly sunny and warm for the rest of the week. Let's take a look at our sunrise and our sunset while we're at it. Our sunrise this morning was 5:42. Sunset tonight is going to be 8:05. And we're thankful for this picture from Alan Clark. Beautiful flower there. He walks those trails over there in Elisa Woods over by the creek, and he always has great pictures for us. So we appreciate that, Alan. And if you'd like to send us a great picture from anywhere you're walking around on the trails or the neighborhood around here, sunrise, sunset, pets, places you visited, whatever it might be, email us, Laguna Woods Village TV@gmail.com. Make sure you include your name, where you took the photo, and we will put it in our sunrise sunset segment. All right, we got one meeting to tell you about. Then when we come back, Cousá over at the Laguna Hills Mall. Stay with us.
Did you know that tinnitus or ringing in your ears can be a sign of hearing loss? Hi, I'm Dr. Gabby Rodriguez, one of the audiologists here at Amazing Hearing. Contrary to what many doctors may tell you, tinnitus can be helped and often eliminated.
I'm a doctor, and I thought I'd have to live with the tinnitus, and my hearing has gone from loud tinnitus to no tinnitus in a week and a half.
Call us today for a free consultation. Amazing Hearing, the hearing and tinnitus experts.
And welcome back. It's time to run away and go to the circus, I think. And Cirque du Soleil Cousé's is in town, and we want to welcome Duncan Cameron to our program.
Hello,
One of the featured performers in the program.
I'm featured very heavily. In fact, you can't ever miss me. I'm like on the stage the whole time.
Yeah, if you're not seeing you, you're hearing you. You guys are loud too, and it's a heck of a show. I got to see the show a couple weeks ago, and it's frenetic. It is going on, right? It's nonstop kind of a feel. What's that like for you to be part of a show like this?
I mean, personally, I love shows where I'm really active. I don't like to go off stage and sit down and twiddle my thumbs. I want to be alive and active. I think it's really important as being a clown is like just keeping that energy going and up. And But yeah, it is sweaty business. It is very sweaty business. As clowns, I've never had to run so much in my life.
you guys are running. So for folks who don't know, Cirque has been going on for many, many years, and there's variations of. There's Vegas ones, there's ones that tour. You guys are in the touring show, and this is a new one called Kuza. Tell me a little bit about the background of Kuza and what it's all about.
Well, Kuza, yeah, actually, it's interesting. Kuza's got 17 years to it, actually. This is the 17th year of Kuza, so it's actually relatively an old show. There are older shows, like Miss Dare's 30 years old or something like this. But yeah, Kuza's great because it's sort of an homage to traditional circus. So it's got a lot of traditional circus flair with Cirque du Soleil's contemporary artistic fling, So it's a really beautiful show. It's really exciting. You've got all the traditional circus ways of performing and shooting out all these tricks. Bam! It's amazing. And then there's story to it as well. And obviously you see the costumes and the aesthetic. It's just got Cirque du Soleil all over it.
Yeah, it definitely has a story that runs through this. A little boy in the park trying to fly his kite at first, and then this magical box shows up, and all of a sudden the magic really starts to happen, and we have this people kind of guiding him through these experiences and that whole thing. What's it like for you to go out there? I mean, this is exhausting, and you're doing this many, many nights a week.
I mean, honestly, the audience give me the energy.
Okay.
When the audience are there, it's hard to, even if I'm super exhausted and my body's wrecked and I'm tired at the end of the week, but I go out there and in front of the audience, like you find that energy. You see the energy of the people, the excitement of the kids' eyes. Everybody's so excited. It's that nostalgia feeling going into a circus tent. There's something about that whole experience going inside, and everybody's in this communal tent, and the show starts, and you can just see the energy starts getting starts fizzling, and then my job is to try to hype up the crowd a little bit. I go out 10 minutes before the show, and I start messing around. I start playing with the audience and meeting everybody. And that's when everybody really starts focusing in, and everybody knows that they're in a communal space. And it's really hard not to be excited about that.
Well, you're very excited about it. You're born in Canada, and you live in the UK. When did you know you wanted to run away and be part of the circus? How did it all start for you?
It's interesting for me because growing up, my older brother, he's 12 years older than me, but he was doing clowning since I was
Really?
such a young kid. Yeah, I was about 5 or 6 when he started wearing a red nose and doing all that sort of stuff. So I kind of grew up watching him doing clowning, and then he went to an arts high school where he was doing improv, and then he went overseas to study with a famous French clown teacher in Paris. So
now, are there still clown colleges kind of thing? Are they still out there?
Oh, they are exploding in popularity.
Really? Okay.
There's so many now. In fact, clowning is becoming the hip new thing.
And that's not a joke. There really are clown colleges. I don't want people to think I'm making a joke about that.
You can go take classes yourself.
Enroll today.
Oh yeah, and especially down here in LA, there's a lot of famous clowns here that my peer group that I really look up to. They've got their own Netflix specials and things like that. They're voiceover actors for cartoons and stuff like this. But so I followed my brother, who also did Cirque du Soleil. He was in Kuza briefly for the past couple cities, and I was performing with him recently, so that was super cool. And that's sort of how I fell into circus in a way.
Now, are there different kind of pathways you can take? Is there more physical clowning, or is there more animation, or working with the crowd? Are there different areas you can?
Oh, there's so many different kinds of clowns, right? Like there's. For me, I was always more of like a theater clown, perhaps. Like I was more doing clowning in theater, which also led me to street theater. Street theater sort of leads to circus, but you can find different styles of clowning in all of these different places. There's even hospital clowning, where they go into hospitals, and there's a very sensitive area where they're a lot more gentle. They wouldn't maybe be doing the same stuff that we're doing in the circus, right?
It's a little much.
But there's so many different styles of clowning now, and there always has been, but it's becoming more and more popular to study these things. And you can do physical theater. They all sort of lead into the same family, so it's really interesting.
So where did you get your very first start in this? Well, I know like you said, your brother was doing it, and you obviously were inspired by that.
My first start. This is my first show, Kuza with Cirque du Soleil.
Very first. Okay.
With Cirque du Soleil.
What did you do? Were you doing it beforehand though?
I've been clowning my whole career. Yeah, so I've been
Okay.
for the past 15 years. I've been clowning and doing strange things for a living. But I have a theater company in England where I live. So I live over there, and I've been creating a lot of kind of alternative cabaret and clowning shows. The inherently what makes it clowning is that I'm playing with the audience, or
Right.
I'm extra aware of the audience. I'm not saying text and ignoring the audience. I'm there looking at the audience and sometimes improvising with them.
Okay.
So yeah, that's for me where that line.
And is Kuza something that something you applied for, or you just kind of were there open auditions? How does that work?
Oh, the process is massive because
Okay.
timelines in big scale circus is a lot longer. The contracts are like a year minimum to 2 years. So I applied 8-9 years ago in a general audition. I had to send a video just to be in the audition, the physical
Wow,
audition.
okay.
So it was a video, and then I went into the live audition. There was 40 people, and they were cutting as they were going throughout the day, so it was a long day. And I was one of 2 people that got a little slip of paper that said, I'm on their database. And Cirque's database only means that I will be allowed to get other casting opportunities. So they would send me
Okay.
more auditions, and I would audition for this part.
Oh, wow.
And I had to turn down a couple of ones because it didn't work with my life at the time. I would have had to, I would have had to cancel my wedding, for example. I would have gotten in trouble for that one. So let's skip that one. But I'm really happy that Kuza has been my first introduction into the Cirque du Soleil world because, honestly, it's such a beautiful show. I'm super happy to be here.
And how do you feel like you're an artist, but you're also an entertainer and a kind of comedian and all those kind of things? How do you combine the art of it with the clowning and the fun?
It's interesting. I mean, sometimes I forget how many skill sets that I'm using in our act because I'm doing sound effects. I'm trying to manage audience members on the stage. We have volunteer work, so I have to really be able to read my audience sometimes if I'm going close to them. So I would say a lot of the artistry is in the skill set that I'm using when I'm performing that is really invisible to a lot of the audience members. They don't really realize that how much I'm actually doing in terms of spacing and trying to there's 3 of us clowns on the stage at any time, and if anybody starts to improvise or changes something or starts to do something, I have to balance the stage and try to make sure that everything's sort of working cohesively so the audience understand where to look, when to look, where's the joke, when to laugh, sort of thing, because otherwise it gets a bit messy. So it's actually there's a lot of I would say artistry or skill sets going on behind the goofiness.
So when you're not doing your stuff, what would you say is the thing you've watched the most? To say, oh man, I'm always impressed by when these guys are on. I'm always watching.
Oh, I mean, it's really hard because I'm
Putting you on the spot.
I'm working with.
You have to work with these people and say, why wasn't I your favorite?
No, you know what? It's just every day. I don't take them for granted, because I work with Greek goddesses and gods. They're all so perfect. All these human beings they're so talented. So sometimes you go, oh, you know what? That act was it's maybe not my favorite. But then when I see them training backstage, I notice the amount of craft that's going into it and the amount of skill and strength. So honestly, it fluctuates for me because I'm like, wow, that handstand guy, holy moly, look at those abs. It's very impressive to look at.
Yeah.
But then I wouldn't take it. Then you start looking at the tissue, the silks, the lady that is the Ariaris.
That's so beautiful.
She's amazing, and the amount of strength that she has. Every so often she tells me just to hang on her silks, just to hold, and the amount of grip strength that you need just to hang on some tissue, I can barely last 30 seconds. I it's amazing.
It's an incredible show, and folks can go see it. It's still over in the Laguna Hills Mall parking lot for a little while longer. Make sure you get out there. It is an amazing show. I've seen it. A great performer here in Duncan Cameron. And Duncan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
There you go.
Perfect.
Thanks, Duncan.
See you soon, everybody.
You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Harvard Eye Associates. We're focused on your eye care at all 3 of our Orange County locations.
Our new location in Laguna Hills, Orange, and San Clemente.
Each facility features the latest in advanced technology and diagnostic equipment.
And a trusted collection of doctors that care about your vision and your quality of life.
We deliver what matters to you
And your family.
Harvard Eye Associates, the future of vision today.
And welcome back. I want to welcome to the program retired Newsday photographer and president of the Laguna Woods Camera Club, John Cornell Jr. Thank you for joining us, sir.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, well, I want to talk about how you got into being the camera club. I'm guessing that when they found out you were a Pulitzer Prize-winning photographer, you were suddenly the president of the camera club.
I did a docent tour, and we happened to be in Clubhouse 4, and this guy who I don't know came out and said, "Are they going to take you to the camera, the photo lab?" And I said, "I have no idea." I said, "But I've got a Pulitzer Prize." "Oh, you got to move here and you got to be part of the club." And that's how it all started. And I moved in April of 23 as a renter and bought a piece of property.
And you said, "That's for you."
Yep.
And I've got a picture of that masthead of the website there for the club, and also you in the classroom. Kind of, what do you do when you kind of looks like you were teaching a class in one of the pictures you sent us?
Right now, I'm teaching a class on how to put a photo story together.
Okay.
We have classes in Photoshop. We have classes in Lightroom, with portraiture, pet photography. You name it, we have a class. And it's open to all the residents in the community. They don't have to be members of the camera club.
Right.
And you can come and you can print your images there by professionals.
Okay. And you also do kind of little tours. Not only do you do a kind of camera, but we've had this picture of the 2 members of the club kind of looking at a kind of a display or a dice display somewhere.
That was at the Los Angeles County Camera Club.
Okay.
Up in LA. That photograph is those cubes reflect on that wall behind them.
Oh, okay.
And you can buy that display for a measly $5,000.
That's all.
Our next trip is tomorrow, and we're going up to the Bergamot Center in Santa Monica. After that, Cirque du Soleil. And then we're going up to Cypress College and the Holocaust Museum up there.
Okay. Now, how did you first get interested in photography? Did it start back in the high school days, or taking classes then, or?
No, it started way before then. I had those little brownies,
Okay. Wow.
and I took a picture of a horse on a rail somewhere in Long Island. I don't remember where. And my mother entered it in the Roslyn Savings Bank photo contest, and I won first prize.
Oh, wow.
And that was the beginning.
Okay. And that just set it off for you.
That set it off, and then I went to Rochester Institute of Technology, have a Bachelor of Fine Arts there, and I studied with a famous photographer by the name of Minor White. Anybody listening can look him up. And I wrote a letter to Newsday because nobody else on Long Island wanted a freshman photo student for the summer, and they were looking for an intern.
Right, we were just looking at the picture now of the very famous picture you took after you'd been there for certainly a while of the TWA Flight 800 crash. And that is the one that led to your Pulitzer.
Yes, that's the cockpit of the plane coming up. We're on the top of a motel across the street from the Coast Guard station.
This is back in 1996 of July. For folks who don't maybe remember, need a refresher on that.
I don't remember. I mean, that whole month. I mean, we camped out there for a whole month, and that started what became the group of 50 of us who would travel to major stories across the country. So we would end up at the Hanging Chad, or the plane crash off of Martha's Vineyard, Kennedy's crash in Martha's Vineyard.
All of those things, and you with that team. What's it like, for folks who don't know what a Pulitzer might be, we're meeting a little refresher, it is probably the highest honor in all of journalism, and it's in multiple categories for feature writing, for news,
Right.
breaking news, for photography. You not only won for photography, but also team reporting.
Right, it was a team reporting. I didn't win it for photography.
Oh, okay, yeah,
It
sorry.
was part of the winning
overall
set of
coverage.
images that they sent in. But it's sponsored by Columbia University, and it's probably one of the most prestigious medals, awards that you can receive in journalism. And we had, I mean, I think the paper at that time had 7 or 8 Pulitzers.
And what was it like when you found out? Were you in the newsroom? Were you out on an assignment? When did you find out?
I was in the newsroom, and it was champagne time. We had, we spent months on that story. The first month was out there, and then we delved into it deeper and deeper.
And you also covered Doctors Masters and Johnson. I know we have a photo of that couple there. Tell us a little bit about how you got into that story, and refresh folks on who they were.
Dr. Masters and Johnson were the sex therapists of the 60s, 70s,
Right.
in there, and it was part of we did an interview with them in New York City, and my part of it was to make an image that stopped the reader. And that's all what I had to do, was stop the reader so that they would read the story. And this was probably for our magazine section.
And it's one of those images like, ooh, this is interesting, right? Oh, what's this about? And that's, like you see on the internet today, they call it clickbait, that picture, what's this story about, kind of thing. So when you have that kind of eye, when you have the opportunity to feature a story, I know breaking news is breaking news and you do your best, but when you have that idea, what's your thought process going into, how do I make this shot more interesting than the usual stand next to each other with shoulders and smile?
That's a key phrase. In teaching a picture story now, I tell the students, you have to find that one image that's going to stop people. And that image is your start, and that's what this was.
Right. And it is a compelling kind of image. You have her looking kind of towards the camera and him looking away, and there's an intensity in his face a little bit too, like what's going on there. They're almost like they're having very, very differing thoughts. They're not on the same page in this picture.
They were very cagey people, as I remember. I mean, they were all over what was not the internet at that point, but was all over the news.
Yeah. And I can imagine that they became that way because of their research was so controversial at the time, in terms of the people who supported it and people who were very much against and wanting to shut down what they were doing. So they probably retracted a lot in terms of that and were very closed off, right?
They were.
So to get him to sit down for that shot was probably a pretty good thing there.
Well, they were sitting there and they were being interviewed.
Right. Oh, okay.
So what I'm doing is trying to walk around to them and photograph them in a way that tells a story. And that's what that is.
And when you think in terms of photography and cinematography and just an image that can tell a story, is that something you really took pride in your career with Newsday, where you can say, I can take this picture and it tells us something?
Yes. My job was to make a photograph that would stop the reader, tell him a story, like the photograph that's on there now of the carriage ride.
Yes, right, that's the carriage ride. I was going to get to that one on the Gold Coast of Long Island.
These people, I called them, horsey people. They would do this every fall. They would have a contest. They would bring these old carriages out and drive them around the Stony Brook area of Long Island for money. And it was amazing. They would, set up and dress up like that. I mean, that's what amazed me.
It is a really cool, and it's not an obvious shot. It's kind of them going away into the woods, into that kind of thing. So it's like there they off are on their adventure kind of thing. So
that was the end of a story. There were other pictures in there, which I don't think I sent you, of they're in a circle driving around, and then they go off onto that. And it's a timed thing. They have to be back in a certain amount of time, and they're judged.
Now, as we wrap up here, I want to go back to the Camera Club. Where do you guys meet? Is it regular meetings? How can people get involved?
Okay, what you see here is a meeting in our education room, and we do that at least twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week. We have our normal club meetings in Clubhouse 7. This one is in Clubhouse 4, next to the art studio. Our lab provides printing. If you have slides and you want to make them digital, bring them over. We can help you do it. Film. I have somebody coming in tomorrow to help with the film. We're going to turn her images into digital prints.
Oh, terrific. All right, so folks, don't be shy about that. If you don't know much about cameras, this is the place to go to learn the craft, learn it, and take some great photos. All right, John Cornell Jr., thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate the Camera Club. Great fun.
You're welcome. It was a joy being here.
Thanks a lot. You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.
We believe every senior should be able to remain healthy, happy, and at home. At Caring Senior Service, we understand the value of compassion and companionship. Our caregivers promote health, happiness, and independence. We cook nutritional meals, engage in meaningful activities, run errands, do light house cleaning, and more. Call us toll-free at 833-926-3700 or visit our website, CaringSeniorServiceLW.com. Healthy, happy home. Caring Senior Service.
Told you we had a great show for you today. It delivered, I think. All right, let's get an announcement in before we head out. And it's a fun one, too. Aqua Fitness is going on over Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. Clubhouse 5 over at the pool. It's going to go all the way through September 26th, and you need to have $35 for 5 classes. Make sure you sign up at Recreation. And you do have a water noodle required, so you can go buy one of those real easy. Or just take one from your grandkids' pool, and they're not always looking. They don't pay attention to those things, but they might see it at your house later on and say, I had a noodle just like that, Grandma, and now it's gone, and so it may be not a good idea. All right, let's scratch that. Go bring your own noodle. Make sure you pay for your own. Free weights are also optional if you want to bring those into the pool as well. Great low impact exercise for everybody. Register at the Recreation Center office or at Clubhouse 5 office as well. Let's take a check on our weather as we head out for the day. And it's a beautiful day out there. We've got some few high clouds out there, but nothing really in the way of the sunshine for today. Nice and warm and sunny. Going to get a little cooler as we head into the rest of the week. High 70s instead of the low 80s. And I'll take that as well. Some morning clouds a little bit, but mostly sunny for the rest of the week. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of This Day. Tomorrow on the program, we're going to get an update from the Recreation Department and the Senior Center, so stay tuned for that. For all of us here at Village Television, we hope you make this day a great one.